Hi guys, and welcome to the Rainbow Six Replays YouTube channel. Today we want to present the video highlights of the last chance qualifier match between G2 Esports and Project X during the Europe League 2024 Stage 2. Don't forget to subscribe and put a like. Enjoy.
Not the way that you wanted to start this approach on your map. There is now at least one back. Blaz is caught out. The castle's gone. Oh, there's suddenly a second. ENCE is able to find Loira. The cover of the smokes, the chance of the drop, there's 40 seconds left and they're disguising the motion of the shield, hoping to maybe bait out some of the pressure from underneath. But, well, with the single C4 of Alamau, that's a little bit of a dabbling, dancing game. Doki drops hungry. In the 25 seconds now, Jay and ENCE have to try and link themselves up. They've had the ping on a player around the bottom of the yellow stairs. They're looking for a fight through the bars and stuff, but they can't quite net. Quickly netted back in G2. Push that.
Are you happy with a gun?
Banned his main, so yeah. If he could right now, if he would hack the game and play Deimos, the shield drops in. It's a known way of playing this through. You try and throw yourself up, and Doki dropped the shield and got caught out the second of ENCE. And is on towards the bathroom and is trying to break their way out either side, but there it is, back and forth. A big blow here, dealt backhanded. ENCE and Rexon caught out. Loira getting one more. You don't really want to toe-to-toe with Hungry on a shield, to be honest, in any of the matters. Less so now, is able to take on a bit of pressure, but could not survive all the onslaughts. Uno gets the last on towards Hungry. And that leaves Dire. That piece fresh in Leo. I'll like it on it. Huge history player. Hungry. And also, they were always known as being a sort of Swiss Army tool of a player. As that round gets locked out, Hungry was that person. Oh yeah,
the sponsored logo.
Yeah, I mean, you look through his history as a player. It was obviously G2 for a while, Vitality, most recently WYLDE for T1 experience on actually all three of the maps. And Chalet with ITB and all Hungry fed in towards Alamau, but there's at least Dire to get that one immediately back. Now they're trying to just find a way to level it off. I was gonna say that.
They're just unaware of the fact that he's out there, and he's starting to look through it. You can see 2 floors down with all the verticality that's been made. It's insane what they have accomplished out there. As Dia will drop down, and Nitrocell will find one more. No, actually, it was the Fuse out there with the shield, so he will be able to rebuff that explosion. But Uno finds a kill instead, and Blast just walks in and gets the final kill. And so far, G2 is just complete for as long as they possibly can. And these are the kind of catches that will happen then. You'll just allow the players to rotate out, to rotate to safety, as Alamau just pistols Jay. And now it's only Rexon up with an actual gun, with the spear, to provide support to these shields. And they can shepherd all they want in the world, but G2's just happily rotating all around them. There's no information network that's been set up, as Rexon will at least find one. So it comes slightly back into equal numbers. They're aware of some of the players down below. You start looking at their utility. Well, there is no explosives that they still have left, but there is a couple of shotguns that could be used to use that verticality they've created themselves.
Now as it's back and forth, sprayed against it, Hungry is dropped out. 2 versus nobody. As a clap can. As the end there, I was about to... The Nook of Jay hoping to get a surprise, but unfortunately for them, Dire has already been surprised with ENCE not that far behind. There is suddenly 2 blows back though, and Hungry's inside. He's shuffling his way around with the shield. He's got eyes on the site, and he's looking at the burn on the other. With Rexon trying to find a fight, they've lost the hatch control. They want to make sure the monster doesn't get caught in the back, because that would immediately pull all of the plans together, as the Nook is deep underneath. Now, how are G2 going to respond to this? They have the vertical, they have a player. Rexon caught from the rotate round, and Jay will have to try and find a way to connect with Hungry, who's connecting with the players inside. They're finally found out, and it's a 2 versus 1. Unfortunately, they weren't able to offer any support, and that'll leave this approach round. The grenade, I was going to say, would be a lead through, had the first fight, but unfortunately...
We'll be retaking that spot to keep Hungry at bay. Now, the combination of a smoke together, of course, with that clash could be quite a danger for the Monty.
Well, that's it. The Monty can't throw himself into the fights on towards Baguette in the top of Spiral, but Uno and Dyer finding one apiece means it keeps brawling back and forth, but they lose that body that could have assisted that Monty. A minute, and now Jay's here on the shoulder of the Monty, and they're the one that's able to get the kill on towards Uno, who just threw themselves in. At this point, G2 a 1 versus 4, and they're inside the smoke, but not for long. They get around. It's not a flawless half.
Project X, again, they should be having a little bit of an easier time here.
Come here.
One grenade.
Dare you.
2 grenade.
It's so silly looking to Secret, who led the charge on around 60%. They're at about 56%. And it's not going to be Doki that starts it. Jay went fishing. Year of how they can crack this walnut. As the slip through. Ooh! Able to just cut their way across. You heard the Banshee tick and tick. Didn't activate in time, so they didn't really hear anything. And well, that's what you get for being a little bit trustworthy onto your gadgets. The angle is theirs. They have a minute 20. You can see Lawyer is putting pressure above the top temporarily on yellow, but it's going to rotate their way around as Alamau kills off onto Jay. Leaves Uzi and Hungry, the 2 shield players throughout most of the attacking rounds, are now going to try and be the last line of defense. The Smokes doing their best as Hungry is spinning absolutely every single direction inside the site to keep it. Uzi's inside Baguette. Now, he has the choice. Is he going to try and go for the swing, go for the kill, and pull some of these players into his favor? He transfers on towards Alamau's head. At this point, 50 seconds, deep rage sprays, and not much utility left in pocket. As the last smoke canister gets thrown out, it's just Uzi's C4.
Be enough time. 44 seconds is still so much for the attack here. Luckily though, all of them have been injured to at least some extent. As Uzi again looking to go for the swing, will find a headshot onto Loira, and that brings it back to equal numbers. Still doable though for G2. They know one's in the cubby, they know one's coming back over, but as Blast goes off, it may be the wrong timing because Uzi was able to just swing by.
Uno's planting, they're waiting for the contact, and there's one, and there's the action on towards it, leaving just Uno in the 1 versus 2. And as I said, these two, they're playing on contact. They're waiting for one to get into the fight, and the other will pop around the corner. Brilliantly played there. An extra body this time round. Huzzah! They don't have Uzi, who's able to get most of the work done in the previous round, and they don't really have a lot of utility left. Obviously, the C4 and the 2 impacts will try and make things work, but at some point, if that Echo is having to play himself onto cameras and G2 do what they do, he will probably be forced onto his guns because they love to throw themselves in towards the site, and that's the risk of playing that sort of Echo role here against a team like G2, is they will just see you and go for you and try to shoot you in the face. Now, the position played on towards pipes. There's the preparation around it. They're going to try and stick it, land it, and rock it as they're over the hatch itself. They've dropped in, suffered a bit of a bite. Alamau's driving through, and he's entirely caught out there by Hungry. They did not have the awareness of that position, and, well, maybe I was wrong. As I said, you can see them trying to find the fight there as an Uno triple comes out, but Dyer in the right place for a second. I mean, what a way. Get yourself back up and get the drop down onto the player around the side. It's just a tragic moment as BLAST now cuts his way in towards the site. Okay, we've lost this body. We'll find the next. BLAST with his second. Again, G2 getting control around this mid-round and the start of it and pulling themselves back into this leading position. But Dyer, great positioning here. Retake it above. They've got to go get that kit. And that is entirely what they are trying to defend here. How close do they know? Oh, well, now they do. There's Nook sitting underneath the camera. Gets the drop onto Dyer. Should have the kit. Another. Oh! I was about to say a 2 versus. But it isn't. Both of them died.
It is definitely doable, but it's also at the same time a full rotation. Great C4, by the way. But the big issue, the big hurdle, is that they've been able to come back from 2-man advantages now. That is twice where G2 was basically, well, not sides against it. The full retake of that top floor is now coming through. Jay finding himself in the bathroom, holding off a off-position angle. Is going to try and find anybody that swings by, but instead gets found himself. Loira gets that kill as G2 now very heavily pushing from yellow.
Risky position, and it's not getting the payoff that they expected. Uno gets one more, leaves Rexon and Uzi once again in the 2 versus 4 clutch on this site, but it's a different level of control that is currently in the favor here of G2. They're sticking that plant, they're sticking Uzi, they stick the last kill. G2 scream their way.
their individual playstyle. And then on top of that, if you look at the way they've been playing, by the way, Uno, 16 kills, he's had an amazing stage, crazy. But if you look at the way they've been playing, they played super aggressive with Traps Operator the entire defense. In round 4, I don't know if you noticed, they brought Legion, Frost, Capcan, and
shenanigans. Now Ray's on the other team, so it's like, is it really an assumption, or are we just going to be seeing him take up that role off the actual window, hoping that someone's going to go for the jump in, or that he can challenge someone who comes back out? It's a logical place to be, as LMAO will find Jay in the meantime. He's been down to 5 HP at the first 10 seconds of the round, it feels like, finally punished for it. But they're slowly starting to creep themselves around the side. And ENCE is basically the one hurdle that's still around before they can start to truly focus only on the side itself, as he finds himself, well, still in Mudroom. And the question is, are they aware?
They were. He was hot pinged a second ago. That's why he went and swung the door itself. And Dyer is able to get Uno onto it, but he's tucked himself as deep as possible, and the spray comes out. There goes Dyer. They still know that one is inside Mudroom. They're back and forth with it with the pistol, just hoping that they can make a connection, but both of them need to reload. And look, 10 seconds left, and ENCE is doing a bit of a silly game, but there's no kit in hand. G2, they have to cement the kill. They're able to get one. There's the trade out here from Rexton. It's a 1 versus 1, and Rexton is just heading for the hills at this point. Can't find it.
And thus, round 1 slips away. This is what you mentioned, like, just a little bit too late. A couple of steps, otherwise you would have still had one of your extra players around. And after that's basically just been clean one-on-one trades. Unaware, though, of where Rexton initially was, so as soon as they stepped... I'm not sure where he was. Could have been on the balcony, could have been elsewhere. Either way, it's again a 4-on-4 situation. Make that a 3-on-4 situation, as LMAO just gets pre-fired by Rexton as soon as he reaches the actual balcony. And a rotate is starting to come through there. You saw those two players near the library starting to push themselves back down the stairs, you would assume. And back to the side they will go, as they have the man advantage to leverage now.
ENCE takes a big bit of a blow, and Malusi takes it worse. BLAST gets the cover, gets the second Uno for himself. That flips that balance back into their favor, trying to force out a player that might be tucked in towards the close wall, but they're not there. Instead, it's a Jay gets the drop here from the west main stairs. The blinds are coming over the top. It's a 2 versus 2. They know where one of them is, and it's a 1 versus 1. Suddenly, Jay pops himself around on the corner. It's an awkward fight here for BLAST to take, but so much time for the remaining players. And there's a camera that was revealing all of the positions there. Now he's going to try and swing this, gets himself a bit of drone intel. There's the spray through. They've retaken inside. Good motion here from Jay. He's just keeping himself a little bit at arm's length. Pops open the mirror window. He's hoping for the fight, but that gives the Legion a bit of a pop-up play here as he demonstrates that example. They're slipping and sliding either side, either way, and the ace just cannot get himself a pocket of safety here. There it is. A missed throw. The Selma might have defined it at this point. They're able to loop themselves around, and they're still playing pop-up pirate here. But as he gets himself close, he's going to pre-fire around the corner. It's the Legion that wins it out, and Jay, you can see the smiles. What a weird way for 2 rounds to play out. One all the way to the end. This one, everything played out quite quick. And just how long we were in, at least a minute.
Otherwise, they would have maybe had the opportunity to bring ENCE back in and start denying that with a bandit charge, but too late. BLAST finds that kill. That's the bandit now gone as well, as Dyer tries to lean back into the fight. He's inside BLAST. He's all the way through.
Well, he's popping open gadgets. He does that so no one can come in from behind him, but unfortunately the angle from Blue is able to get him out. LMAO does find one. It's technically a 3 versus... Oh, suddenly 3 versus 2. BLAST on the ground. Uno and Doki found out. They're not going to be able to get that player up because he's so isolated. There's the finish on it. What a change of fate. There's one, but the second swings. LMAO just sprinting towards the hope that they were the only one there. Opting for this take. Second attempt. Second play on towards it. The spray through to the same place he planted last time, but they don't take the bait again. Just gets the goo mine in foot. It's everything to try and hope he gets a reaction. A bit of a missed moment. And shutting it down. I mean, it's just such a weirdly put together game of Siege. They'll have the option to try those things, take them by surprise. Talking of, there's the bolts, force out Hungry's position. He tucks in, ducks and rolls, and also does Alamel get rolled out by Rexon. Hungry's trying to step up against Doki, who can't quite cover the divide. He's trying to get closer and closer without being caught by the sprint, but Rexon's underneath. There goes Hungry, finally dropped, and so is Loira outside of the piano window in the cross. Doki gets one before Rexon finds the end of Blaz. Uno's picking up the big rotate there onto Loira, but it puts us into a 3 versus 3. And
Play this horizontally, does a little bit of damage to Dia, but nothing too noteworthy. Just 15 points. And with 35 seconds, at least they are aware of their position, but still 2 unchecked players in that moment in time.
There's Dia getting one. Uno gets the trade right back out, puts us into a 2 versus 2, but Doki's on 1 health and his teammate is down, so it's 4-0 right now. They are the most external they've been for a while, and that at this point usually everybody's dead and they're inside the site, and we had a 1 versus 1 that lasted a minute. Here, Rexon is trying to root them back out, but the tuck of Uno gets rid of Rexon, and for the first time in what feels like a while, G2 are in the driving seat. It's Uzi left, but not for long. A flawless round from G2. The last round that they won, it's so, you know, slow, steady. Let's not just throw ourselves in. It's obviously not working. Uzi does start working, gets their first kill after what was a great first map. There's the plant being attempted as Alamau gets Jay. The hop out is locked down, and Uno should be able to secure this, and does. A post-plant situation for the first time. 3 versus 2. Uno, make sure it quickly doesn't stay that way for long, and Dia above can only look at his own death. G2 find 2 rounds.
Here come the bees. Uno is spotted. No one's really dared to do anything about it, though, as Rexon goes for the entry into the library. Are they aware? Mine definitely popped. Uzi will find one before Elamau gets that trade. And now you have it. 2 people looking towards the library. There's the initial approach, but Elamau stayed into that fight for a little bit too long. That little bit of space onto the half wall before Doki can show up. That's the drive, but Doki is about to show up. There's the first, gets himself a second for the round. He's trying to get the rotate out. The camera's revealing all at that point, and that was why it was so easy. But then Loira, what are you doing? Drifting across the open play space. Jay gets the free pickup, levels things up, and it's 10 seconds left. Now, as Rexon tries to drive themselves towards this last fight, they have the ping on the reveal of Doki. They know where he is, and the grenade will keep him at bay as they just try and get the plant. And there's the death of Blaz here, trying to fight his way forward. He's not going to be able to make it in time to stop the plant, so it's Doki with everything to do, spraying his way back and forth. But the 2 remaining players of Project X have pulled themselves out. G2. Must be such a annoying way to let a round slip. A 3v2 even, like, you just... Why do you even, like, walk in front of the window? Just hold the doorways.
Back in, watching the vertical. Uzi's a bit concerned as to where the pinch is, but there goes Doki. Rexon, massive step up. Again, as a lot of the team has, to be fair, but when you have these gunners getting themselves more involved, you're getting the rewards out of it. Bit of a burn, bit of a problem, a bit of a catch and a wait here as Loira does finally find his first kill. But Uzi gets it traded out as Uno gets 2 of his own. Alamau versus Uzi for the end of this. They're inside the site, another 1 versus 1 with huge amounts of time. The pre-fire. And a player that actually has a castle working for his favor at this point. Alamau's going to try and charge himself a little bit closer, but he doesn't pull off the plant. He's looking for the fight. He doesn't know where the player is. Now he does. And Alamau is able to win it against Uzi. Pressure home. And those mistakes are getting close. You can see the heat there from Doki.
1 kill away, Project X, of just being able to flood the side confidently here. So they desperately need something in return as Jade from the big window will find himself a second for the round.
I mean, there it is. Uno still doing their best to hold out, but a 4 versus 2. The C4 will out and hungry to lead his. You can see Uno still waiting for a fight. It's about to down towards him, and there's the bait. There's one, but it's traded out, and they get a kid. Alamau gets two, gets three. Where has this suddenly come from? Alamau locked in and finds the fourth, and it all found.
That's how quick it was. Get the count. 1, 2, and the third one through the wall. 1 HP on Uzi. Some vertical pressure with that skeleton key. Actually doesn't know about the player that's inside the kitchen. No,
Yes, they do. The ping is there, and Loira gets the drop round on towards Dyer. And, you know, they had an idea that someone was in there. They needed the yellow ping to know the exact location, and Loira, just in that time, got the read through the Bs. Will get the follow, and they somehow slip out of there. Blaz surviving, moving on as Alamau's able to find another. There's Loira getting his double for the round. And G2 has started to activate here, finally, in some different regard. Doki gets the last. And
I mean, the Kali cannot get the shots chained quick enough where you can actually get the kill as well. However, the issue is when there's a second player around. The shotgun definitely does love the Kali because, you know, down that close range, there's nothing that the CSRX is going to be doing. And now a 2-man advantage for G2, who are looking to get themselves the series point after they've struggled so much in the early parts of this game. The fuse charge is activating, will force them back out the site, but at this point, there's not really... Oh, actually, no, it's been turbo out, so it's not even doing it right now.
Uzi, Dyer, and Hungry, the 3 players that are sort of a bit on the back foot, are going to see if they can try and make this one land and stick. There's the play of a fuse charge on the opposite side, but the C4 won't catch Dyer. Just too far away. The second is the follow through that makes it a 5 versus 2. The fight over the top goes into Uzi's way. They're trying to flood on towards this clash, who's being forced out the door, but if their attention is on you, then who's watching the kit? At this point, they need to try and back and forth and keep Uno covered. Oh no, it's a counter defuse.
And suddenly we find ourselves on a G2.
The options are running slimmer and thinner. Doki doesn't shoot. Holds on, waits, full sense of security, executes Dyer. And could this be the start of the end? No, says Rexon. He tears his way in right through the core of the site. Looks to try and find a second fight, but the kid is not that far behind him. However, it needs to find a safe place to plant, and the pings are coming out of the players underneath. You've got to react here. Hungry, he's going to stick it. G2, they go for something surprising, and they're just too late. Doki gets one, Rexon gets one of his own. A 3 versus 2 as Ono hits the ground. Now, Alamau and Doki, 2 power players with great KDs, are going to see if they can try and push this over the edge, but they've got Jay and Rexing at least to go back against it, and Uzi, they go for the pickup. Level it out as Doki gets his third for the round itself. Jay and Rexon, the first is caught by Alamau. It's all down to Jay to keep the projects alive. Do they have the X factor? The defuse is coming. There's one, there's 2. Downs the man, 11 seconds. He's gonna have to hold the kit. Oh! He gets the spray. Is he in time?
He is. He has this. I am certain of it. And G2 get it with 0.3 on the
way of putting it, Leo. That was it was a lights out game. It should never in a million years have been this close. And there's still a very real worry for G2. This is LCQs. We never like to big up a victory too much because there's a longer road ahead. There's a whole day tomorrow where teams are going to be, well, where we're going to be covering all 3 best of 3s. So there's a lot of siege to get around tomorrow. And if you think that G2 played that way today against Project X, it was a 7-3 on Consulate. It was very decisive. Chalet, 7-5, 1 round away from going to an overtime. It wasn't just that, it was the manner in which G2 won a couple of those rounds. You've mentioned there, Leo, the clutches, individual performance was...